Can I have a motion to resume public session? Ms. Kais, Ms. Littlewood, all in favor? The motion is passed. We are now back in public session. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. All right, we're going to begin tonight by conferring diplomas for our August graduates.
Here we go. Okay. Superintendent Daly, as principal of Gates Chili High School, I am honored to present the class of 2024. These young people have completed all requirements for graduation established by the Board of Regents of the University of New York and the Gates Chili Central School District.
Board President Catherine Coffey, I have received the recommendation of Principal Hamill that these young people should receive their high school diplomas. I recommend to you that the Board of Education confer these diplomas.
As president of the Board of Education of the Gates Chili Central School District, I direct the diplomas be conferred.
Come on up, guys.
All right. So one thing, now face the audience. Here's the big moment. All right. Members of the class of 2024, please rise. You're up. Please move your tassel from the right to the left. I now pronounce you graduates of Gates Chili High School.
You're going to come over here, okay? Congratulations, you guys. Thank you for all of your hard work towards your graduation. When you guys are done with pictures, you're welcome to stay if you want, but you are also welcome to go home and celebrate. Do we have any agenda changes, Mr. Daly?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, we do. We have added a exhilarating facility finance and audit follow-up report, as well as some changes to personnel.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, moving on to board president's comments. We had a wonderful start to our night with our August graduates here and their families, and we're very thankful that they're here, knowing how much work they put in, their families and the staff put in to help them get to this milestone in their lives. So congratulations again. I just wanted to take a moment to recognize the fact that this is National Suicide Prevention Month, and knowing that our mental health staff and providers throughout the district are working to raise awareness and make sure that all of our families and students and staff know supports that are available for them. Also, that it is Early Intervention Awareness Month, which is something really important for our district and our community, as it is for all districts. But knowing that our youngest learners have opportunities to help them grow and access supports and really learn kind of what it is to be a person as they're growing, both within their homes and outside of their homes at school. I had the opportunity to participate in some Monroe County School Board leadership work this past week, which is very helpful, where you have the opportunity to connect with other presidents throughout the county and learn approaches or systems that are in place in their districts, different types of work that districts are doing, how you respond to things, really having that sounding board to problem solve and grow as a leader and as a member of a community. We also had the Education Foundation this month, where they are kind of looking at their options for fundraising and ways to support our community and our students. And got to see part of a girls' soccer game. It's beautiful weather, one of the days it wasn't raining and storming. And the last thing that I just wanted to draw our attention to is knowing that over the next 2 weeks, we have a lot of our open houses and welcoming events in our schools. I think the high school is the 17th, if I'm remembering my calendar correctly. There's a lot of dates on there, guys. And knowing that all of our elementary open house nights are the 25th and 26th. And of course, middle schools is coming up. I no longer have a middle schooler this year, so that date doesn't stick out quite as quickly for me. But it'll be in our updates. Thank you, guys, and have a wonderful evening as you get to listen to our business now. Do we have any other points of interest? Dr. Richards?
So I attended the opening high school football game, although it wasn't quite the ending we had hoped for. It was definitely exciting to see the stands filled with fans and spectators supporting, the team and the players. So it was great to be there.
Do we have any other points of interest? Ms. Kais?
I attended the Music Boosters meeting yesterday. Just want to put on everybody's radar that they do have a bottle and can drive coming up across the community, so people could save their bottles and cans. We'll be getting postcards soon, and you'll have students come around and collect them.
Thank
Goes a long ways for helping them offset the cost of the year's music department trip.
Awesome. So again, the Music Boosters have their bottle and can drive going on around our community. Wonderful. Thank you. Any other points of interest? Okay. That brings us to reports of meetings. Do we have any reports? One moment.
Each of our board members has at their seat a resolutions packet for our NISBA convention resolutions form. And those are typically, we go through any of the proposed amendment and changes and, may have a brief discussion, and then we're able to propose those at the convention level. So just to make sure that, we want to make sure that our public is aware that that's some of the behind the scenes work that we do.
Thank you. Do we have any other meetings? Okay. Do we have any visitor comments? All right. That moves us on to reports. Our first report is from the MCC Step program regarding a New York City trip.
Good evening, Board. My name is Brandy Brancato. I'm the MCC Step Advisor at Gates Chiley High School. Nicole Fideli is the Gates Middle School Advisor, and this is our Director at Monroe Community College, Jasmine Haywood. I was asked to propose a presentation of our field trip that we were planning for the Board. Nicole, do you want to pass a couple of these around so that they could see the presentation? The what? Oh, the clicker's right there. Yeah. There we go. Okay. So MCC is an academic enrichment program for 7th through 9th grade students. It helps prepare them for STEM careers. Some of the opportunities we provide for them are summer programs, college prep assistance, volunteer work, workshops, career exploration, research opportunities, tutoring, STEM events, conferences. We take them on college tours, and we take them on field trips. Currently, right now in the high school, I have 130 students. So with that, the field trip that I was presenting is New York City. I was hoping we could go on November 6th to the 9th, 2024. It's a Wednesday to a Saturday. We were going to have 20 to sophomores and juniors with 5 chaperones. The students are chosen by invite, and I have an application for them to fill out. The trip is completely free for the students. The cost is covered by our program, all of it, MCC Step. My objective was that they'll be able to explore the cultural and academic experiences of New York City. And then for the next 3 slides, it's just the itinerary. We'll be leaving Wednesday morning from MCC. We will end, as we arrive in New York City, we're planning on seeing The Lion King on Broadway. That evening, going to our hotel. The next morning, we're getting up and going to an HBCU, Medgar Evers College, for a tour, heading to the American Museum of Natural Science afterwards, and then dinner and spending the night in Times Square. The next morning, on Friday, we were planning on going to NYU and meeting with STEP and C-STEP students from that college, a tour and lunch with them with some Q&A and some other activities with those students. We were going to then head to the Statue of Liberty in Ellis Island, and then head out for dinner that evening. Saturday morning, breakfast at the hotel, and back, heading home somewhere around 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm working with Kyla Phillips in the business office with all transportation and insurance requirements. We're actually going through people that Gates Chiley uses themselves. That's the information right there with the travel and the tour agency. And then I just have a couple pre-trip activities. I will be having a parent meeting, going over the itinerary and the contract. Students will be signing and answering any questions from parents. It's also a mandatory student meeting where I go over the contract expectations with them, answering any of their questions. And then post-activity will just be a student survey so I could have some feedback on what was valuable and help us plan for future trips. That's it. Thanks. Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Can I ask you guys a question? Just for my understanding a little bit more of the program, sorry, I don't know a ton about it. You said you have it in middle school and high school? Okay, very cool. Did many of the students apply for the trip?
We haven't gone through the process yet. We were waiting for it to be
Okay. That's probably very logical.
The application's ready, and we met as advisors because she had all these students that had now come to the high school.
Very cool.
I've been in this program for a little over a year. So we do roughly have an idea of the 20 students, and then a couple on a waiting list that we are going to be inviting.
Awesome, thank you. Any other questions? Ms. Kais?
Sounds like a great trip. With chaperones, are they staff or
Any other questions?
It was on, but it went off. That's okay. I know that they are chosen by invite. What are some of the other qualifications?
Criteria?
Criteria.
Students need to be well in their academics, so about an 85 or above, no disciplinary problems. Students that have been involved in the program in the past, we usually ask those students to pick some students that have been on field trips with us before, other events, coming to my room a lot, students I know I know well enough. Also students that are interested in an urban setting for college. That's why we're targeting like sophomores and juniors to get their interest, to see if they're interested or in an HBCU, and to be also honest, students that haven't had this opportunity to travel there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Thanks, you guys.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, we are going to have another graduate for our August graduations.
It stayed on for a minute, but. Stayed on for a while. Okay. I know.
Okay. Ready? Yep. Superintendent Daly, as principal of the Gates Chiley High School, I am honored to present the class of 2024. These young people have completed all requirements for graduation established by the Board of Regents of the University of New York and by the Gates Chiley Central School District.
Board President Catherine Coffey, I have received the recommendation of Principal Hamel that these young people should receive their high school diplomas. I recommend to you that the Board of Education confer these diplomas.
As president of the Board of Education of the Gates Chiley Central School District, I direct the diplomas be conferred.
On down. All right. And you're gonna stand here again. Okay. Introduce them.
Jay Sean Clark, congratulations.
Okay, and now here's the big one. Ready? Members of the class of 2024, please stand. Good job. Please move your tassel from the right to the left. You are officially a graduate of Gates Chiley High School. Congratulations. Come on over and take some pictures, please. Congratulations. Absolutely, absolutely.
Congratulations, you guys. This is a lot of work, something to be very, very proud of. All right. Can we now have our student support services update?
Good evening, President Coffey, Vice President Richards, Superintendent Daly, and members of the Board of Education. Thank you for allowing me for some time this evening to highlight one of the many endeavors that the Student Support Services Department is embarking upon in order to improve the ways in which we provide services to students and families. Our agenda for this evening is really to focus on community schools. We're going to begin by talking about an overview of community schools. We're going to talk about the layers of community schools, and then we're going to talk more specifically around the efforts that have been made thus far to implement community schools here in Gage-Chili. We've been working to bring community schools to Gage-Chili for some time, and the progress that we've made could not have been done without the support of Angelina Pound, who is the coordinator of Student and Family Support Services, and Dr. Joe Fantagrossi, who is the Regional Community Schools Coordinator with Monroe 2 Orleans BOCES. I would ask you to take a moment to compare the two images that you see. Aside from the fact that the device on the left would not be recognized by most of our students today, there's a deeper difference to consider. In the past, conventional phones were mainly used for making calls, and they had great voice quality, but were used for little else. Similarly, schools used to be used and accessed for academic support, and principals and teachers provided a lot of their time and effort into providing academic support. However, it's clear that academic success is hard to achieve without addressing the broader needs of students and their families. Just as phones have evolved to meet the various needs through the creation of apps, schools must also adapt. Today's phones provide a hub of diverse needs in one place. In the same way, community schools serve as a central resource for students and families addressing needs beyond simply academics. This approach relies on strategic partnerships, offering tailored support much like the customized home screens that adapt to the needs of the users. So no two home screens are typically alike because they are unique to the needs of the user. Just like no two community schools are alike because they are specific to the needs of the communities. And as Joe often says, if you've seen one community school, you've seen one community school. So what is a community school? A community school is a hub that connects the school, families, and community, focusing on academics, youth development, family supports, health services, and community engagement. They rely on strategic partnerships among schools, agencies, and families to provide supports for community members. The community school strategies coordinates and maximizes resources with a coordinator managing the day-to-day operations at each of the sites. So here are some core features of community schools. Community schools, again, really serve as a hub that go beyond academics and provide vital social and civic roles. They take a holistic approach to youth development, engaging in dialogue with stakeholders, and build on the strengths of community ties. Community schools provide opportunities to form and deepen relationships, develop agency and skills, and foster overall wellness. The practices you see before you are interconnected with community schools because they form the foundation for addressing the comprehensive and diverse needs of the students and their communities. Culturally responsive practices ensure that school environments and curriculums reflect and respect the community's diversity, making education more inclusive. Trauma-informed approaches help community schools support students facing adverse experiences, creating a safer and more understanding atmosphere. Community engagement is a core principle of community schools involving local stakeholders and strengthen support systems and resources. Evidence-based practices guide the implementation of programs and services in community schools, ensuring that they're effective and tailored to the community's needs. Restorative practices foster a sense of belonging and community by addressing conflicts and building relationships, which is crucial and a core principle of community schools. Multi-tiered systems of supports align with the community's goals, the community school's goal of providing layered supports to meet the varying needs of students, from academic help to social emotional support. This framework must be integrated into a community school to create a responsive, supportive, and effective learning environment that meets the holistic needs of students and also the broader community. As you know, here at Gates Chili, we have made many of these practices our focus for the past several years. So what do we know? We know that if a student comes to school hungry, they often struggle to learn. We know that if a student comes to school sick or in need of medical care, they often struggle to learn. If a student comes to school worried about a caregiver losing their job or other such fears, they often struggle to learn. And if a student's family does not have housing, resources, and stability to support them, they often struggle to learn. So schools must address these obstacles to ensure that students can reach their full potential and teachers can effectively teach. And with that, I'm going to invite up Dr. Fantagrossi to talk a little bit more about community schools.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. So my job tonight is to kind of give you the broader context of how does the work here fit regionally, at the state level, and nationally. So approximately $63 million in grant funds came from the U.S. Department of Education last fiscal year regarding community schools. That was provided to 20 states. There are approximately 647 community schools in New York State, about half in New York City, about half outside of New York City. New York State itself, in its budget, committed $250 million last year. And about $1 million of that went to 3 technical assistance centers that we work pretty closely with. Our closest one that serves our region is based out of Binghamton University. Truthfully, that pales in comparison to some states. California has invested $3 billion, that is with a B, $3 billion in community schools over the next 4 years. New York previously was a leader in the community school strategy, has fallen behind a bit, but it is our hope that they will continue to grow. So community school strategy, a couple things I think you should know is it's been approved as a school turnaround strategy, both in the state of New York and nationally. So the good news is that it's a research-based strategy that has clear backing. The challenge with it being a school turnaround strategy is sometimes people look at it as it can only be a turnaround strategy. For a very long time, my colleagues in the city of Rochester have used it as a turnaround strategy. The truth is very similarly to how we used to call certain teaching strategies, oh, that's a special education strategy, and then we realized, oh, that's just good teaching. That's what community schools is. It's just a good way to do business. If you're wondering on return on investment, a pretty good study in 2019 by the RAND organization that for every dollar a school invests in a community schools coordinator, they reap approximately $7.11 from that. That includes a positive impact on attendance in that building, increased academic achievement, a reduction in office and behavioral referrals, and improvement in school climate. So there is a pretty strong evidentiary backing for community schools. As a strategy, formally it's about 30 years old. It was largely an urban strategy until about 10 years ago, and then it underwent its explosion to being a common strategy across the country. So where does Gates fit in the broader picture? So at the top of that pyramid, community schools is in of itself place-based and person-centered, meaning that the strategy is specific to not just the culture of each district or broader community, but specific to the culture of that school building. But it does not stand alone, because if you go one layer up, or in the pyramid's case, one layer down, you have county level support. And I am proud to say that formally launching on October 17th is the Community Schools Coalition of Monroe County. Gates Chili serves on the steering team for that coalition, and Angelina and Jason have graciously served on that team from the very beginning of our work. We are launching with 107 organizations on October 17th. We also have a community schools COSER through Monroe 2 BOCES that 4 school districts are served in. That includes Greece, yourselves, Hilton, and East Irondequoit. Greece has 13 schools using the strategy currently. Of their 18, 13 use the strategy. East Irondequoit has 3 schools. Hilton is in year 0, so they have 1 school piloting, and you are in year 1 with 1 school. The city of Rochester currently has 21 schools identified as community schools. I anticipate that number will go down because, truthfully, the community school strategy works. And when it works and things improve, the money for the strategy in the city goes away, and so they stop doing the community school strategy. At a regional, the Community Schools Coalition, did I put more about that in here, Jason? I don't remember. Yeah, I'll talk more about that in a second. The regional collaborative, there is an upstate, or as sometimes we are referred to, a rest of state collaborative around community schools. It is called the New York State Community Schools Thruway Coalition. I am fortunate to have been one of the founding members of the Thruway Coalition and serve on its executive committee. It really came out of this idea that we should not be working in isolation and that a rising tide lifts all boats. And so that collaborative is kind of the energy behind much of the professional development that is done around community schools regionally. They hosted 2 days of seminars this summer at Syracuse University, who is one of our great partners. And it really is an opportunity for us to support each other in the work across the state. Another layer down is the state. There are really 2 significant supports at the state level for this work. One is the New York State Community Schools Network. That's largely an advocacy group. It's based out of the Network for Youth Success, which is a Troy, New York organization that covers the state for not only community schools advocacy, but after-school programming advocacy. We go once a year with that group to advocate for community schools funding in Albany in February. They also run the New York State Community Schools Conference, which last year was in Troy. You had a team there last year. And this year will be in Albany. The New York State Community Schools Technical Assistance Center, as I mentioned before, there are 3 of those in the state. One in Binghamton covers most of western and central New York. There's one in Rockland County that covers what they refer to downstate as upstate New York. And then there's one that covers New York City that's based at Fordham University. The technical assistance centers are there to support the development. They're there to provide resource. They're there to bring people together around the community school strategy. I work very closely with the director and assistant director there. and think they're really doing some fine work. A matter of fact, they will be in region. They are facilitating our regional community schools coordinator meetings this year. So they are a good entity to support us. And not to be left out, at the national level, I guess is that like my gong? Yeah. At the national level, there's the National Center for Community Schools. That is the technical assistance provider and research organization for community schools nationally. They are based out of Columbia University, the Children's Aid Society. We have a very close partnership with them, and 2 weeks ago Monroe County was recognized as an exemplar region for community schools work. And so we are excited about that and are going to meet with them formally in November for that. The advocacy arm at the national level is the Coalition of Community Schools, not surprisingly based in Washington, D.C., and they also provide and put on the National Conference for Community Schools, which this upcoming year is in Minneapolis. Last year it was in Atlanta, and I was had the good fortune of presenting twice at the National Conference last year. So what I used all those words really to say to you is, there is a through line for this strategy, and by the way, it's not an initiative. And initiatives are programs. This is not a program. This is a way of doing business. This is a framework. And there's a clear through line from your school level Armstrong team, and you have a team dedicated to the work at Armstrong who are doing great work. So there's a through line from them all the way through county, regional, state, and national. And I'm fortunate that because of where I sit at BOCES, I can kind of hold all of those pieces together and make sure that Gates is continuously in that conversation. So when grants come up, they're in that conversation. When professional development opportunities arise, you're in that conversation. And that's the way we do that work. It's not competitive. It is supportive. As I mentioned, we are launching the Community Schools Coalition of Monroe County. We have, actually, we added 2 organizations today, so we're up to 109 organizations that have been invited to participate in the formal launch, which is at the Memorial Art Gallery on October 17th. It really is an opportunity to bring together cross-sector partners. Community schools can't be done by just school staff. We tried that model for a while, and it's really difficult to meet modern needs solely within the 4 walls of a school building. So how do we partner with community agencies, governmental departments, nonprofits to really bring that support and serve as that connective tissue for our students and their families? So I'm excited about that coalition. The coalition, I wish I could say to you it's this great brainchild of mine. It's not. We started doing coalition-style work a decade ago in Wayne County. Wayne County Community Schools, not very creative name, but does good work. Wayne County Community Schools was founded almost a decade ago. 4 years ago, Seneca County Community Schools was founded. I founded that. 2 years ago, Ontario County Community Schools was formed. And a little more than 2 years ago, Onondaga County, which calls themselves Central New York Community Schools, was formed. So this regional concept of community schools, or a county-wide concept, is not brand new. This is the first time we're doing it in a really large space. I'm going to say one thing quick about that. Almost every other funding stream in New York State runs through a county lens. So whether we're talking about things like public health, or mental health, or criminal justice, or probation, or social services, they're all county level. And for a long time, we as schools have expected county level employees to just know the difference between all the different school districts and their protocols and their policies. while we're both speaking different languages. The purpose of this coalition is to start breaking down those barriers and start having a common conversation about what our kids need and how do we support our families. Regional level is the Thruway Coalition. If you're interested in more information about that, very simple website, www.thruwaycoalition.org. And that is run by my colleague in Wayne County, Jay Roskup. And the network at the state level is nyscsn.org. And yes, we are going February 2025. It's actually, the date was just announced. It's February 13th of 2025. So that's the state level. Oh, now over to Angelina.
Thank you, Joe. So after all of that information on community schools at the national level, right on down to the local level, I bet you're anxious to know, what are we doing here regarding implementation of community schools? So last year was our first year that we began the implementation process of this strategy. So we really focused on laying the foundation for our work. We followed the nationally established process through the National Center for Community Schools. And I'm proud to say that Hilton is currently using our process as an exemplar for their work in implementing the community school strategy. We attended with a small group, including Rebecca Scott, Neil Armstrong principal, social worker, AIS teacher, Jason and myself. We attended Community Schools 101 together as a team, where we began planning what implementation might look like. And we asked Joe Fantagrossi to come to Neil Armstrong and present to the entire faculty, just give them an overview of community schools so that we're all on the same page. From there, a diverse group of stakeholders was formed because we needed to participate in a needs and asset assessment. We needed to look at what are the strengths of Neil Armstrong, but then also what are the areas for growth? What do we think that we can work on or leverage community schools to help us with? We had an archival data review. We reviewed all kinds of data at Neil Armstrong, from attendance to grades to free and reduced lunch, discipline, who gets AIS. We looked at everything, and we had 3 comprehensive sessions where we really dove into that data. A community schools site coordinator was hired through the Center for Youth, Mrs. Cassandra Kappen, and she's a district resident with children at Paul Road and the middle school, so I'm very happy that she's on board. She joined us in April, and she just dove right in, getting to know the culture of the building, students, staff, families, and she's really been an asset to the building, even with the little time that she's been with us. At the very end of the year last year, we had focus groups that were held with all of the staff at Neil Armstrong to get their input, their perceptions. What are the assets of the building, and then what are some areas for improvement? We're going to use that information along with the archival data review in order to determine what are the specific supports we can put in place for this year and beyond to meet the holistic needs of our students and families at Neil Armstrong. Summer work focused on creating a report to share out to the community, and then there was another opportunity for new staff to attend the Community Schools 101. Lindsay Georgia, our new AP at Neil Armstrong, was trained, as well as Justin Johnson, our new counselor. So we feel like we're in a great position to start this work, to really jump in and provide that holistic support that our students and families need. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you so much, you guys. Who is Ms. Jennings?
My microphone doesn't work. I have 2 questions. So, one, I know you guys mentioned a few schools in the region that have started to implement this strategy. I'm just wondering if there are any schools that have already implemented and have seen success and then not needed this strategy anymore. And then my second question is, what's the average turnaround time to see success?
Yeah, 2 good questions. So the first thing is I can't speak directly to RCSD because they don't fall under the BOCES funding. They have their own funding stream. they started with one school. And they've collected data for all 8 of those school years and found very similar data to what I shared with that RAND report. Increased attendance in those buildings, decreased office referrals, increased academic achievement, particularly in math for some reason. I don't have a good reason why, but math improved significantly in those buildings. So there is clear evidence that the strategy not only works locally, but that it works nationally. East Irondequoit has 3 schools, but one's only 1 year old. So they piloted in the middle school last year, and they added 2 elementary schools this year. So I have some data from East Irondequoit, but it's only 3 or 4 months in the making. And Hilton and you are both new. About the strategy going away, my hope is the strategy never goes away. Because really this is a structure, and the premise of the structure is if this group of people represents student supports in our community, and we represent a family, there has to be a way to either close this gap or create a bridge to it. For so long, we have put that onus on families to get their children to those services, even if they're inconvenient, even if there's a lack of transportation, even if they're located in another town. The premise of community schools is, how are we breaking down as many of those obstacles as we can so that that path is smooth and we make that interconnected work happen. And so we've been very fortunate on the coalition side of this work to have Center for Youth sit in on our steering team. Not just their community schools people, but their homeless outreach. So we've been able to have conversations with them. We have organizations like Common Ground Health, who does health data. So to give you an example of that, every zip code in Monroe County has specific health data. If you go on Common Ground Health's website and punch in a zip code, it will give you a breakdown of all of the health outcome data that has occurred in that zip code. So they're a partner of ours. Monroe County Public Health is a partner of ours. They sit on the steering team. So now when I'm thinking things, oh, this should happen, and then they're like, yeah, you're right, it should happen, but we have 1 person for that for your 11 districts. And I'm like, well, maybe I didn't know that. So the idea behind the strategy is we're creating systems to make sure that we're making efficient and effective use of the resources that exist and not allowing resources to go underutilized or unutilized.
And like Jason said earlier, just like with the rotary phone and the iPhone. So schools traditionally were just, to teach academics. Now schools there's a whole bunch of other things and supports that our students and families can access through the school to meet needs, because the world has changed. It's not the way it used to be. So we need to adapt and change to meet students and families where they're at, right? To bring the services to them.
Yeah, it really becomes a foundational approach.
Having a little firsthand experience working in a couple different schools that are connected to community schools, both in Wayne County and in Monroe County, it really builds like that community feeling within the structure, and connects families in lots of different ways, in a way that just enhances the school system. So I think it's a really cool and useful approach to connect with people that we often struggle to because there are barriers that get in the way of school being accessible. Any other questions, Ms. Kais?
I appreciate your answer to Michelle's question, because up until that point, I was struggling to wrap my brain around what new school was.
Mm-hmm.
Can we have an example of maybe one thing that New Armstrong has utilized from this?
Sure. So we have some families who currently, and this is just since the beginning of the school year, have lost housing. So Cassie Kappen, who is our new community school site coordinator, has reached out to those families, has invited them in, is working on finding resources to help support the families, whether it's to try to find housing.
Anything else? Mr. Moscato?
What's, so I'm assuming that the idea is to expand this to all 6 buildings. What's our timeline for that?
Yeah, so we've taken a slow approach, which, as Angelina said, other districts are following. So we took our time, a year, to get ready to kind of formally launch Neil Armstrong, and really be systematic about how we do that, and we've been learning along the way. Our goal, of course, with the support of the Board of Education, would be to choose another school for the upcoming school year, 25-26, and roll out potentially in a secondary building, and then kind of year after year, bring another building into the fold.
If I could speak just a moment to the financial.
Any other questions? Thank you, guys.
Great job. Thank you.
That moves us forward to finance, facilities, and audit update.
Good evening, Superintendent Daley, President Coffey, Vice President Richards, and the Board of Education. I'm Dr. Mitch Ball here to give the report. So this was an interim meeting, not previously planned in the schedule. Mr. Daley and I wanted to connect with the committee to discuss the proposed 2025 capital project, acknowledging that we were getting to that point in the planning phases where we needed to make some decisions about how we might move forward given financial considerations. And so initial estimates were higher than anticipated given market considerations and labor costs, and the scope of the work that came through all of the various meetings that we had as a district. And so we went over some of those details and talked a little bit about how we would move forward, acknowledging that at the next board meeting, there will be a presentation by Mr. Daley and myself about the outcome of those conversations and what a proposal to the public might look like in February of 2025. In addition to that, we talked a little bit about doing a study in the future that would look at enrollment and physical space and the needs of the district long-term, given a whole number of demographics and factors that are specific to Gates-Chili. And then we talked a little bit about air conditioning, just noting that there was some proposed legislation at the state level. It has not gone into effect yet, but just talking a little bit about how the district might react if in fact that legislation did go into place. And that was the entirety of the meeting. Are there any questions? All right, thanks so much, and I hope you have a great evening.
Thank you, you as well. That moves us forward to discussion items. We have updates from the Education Foundation.
We met last Wednesday. They're currently still seeking new members, so anyone that would love to join the board and make a difference, please reach out to the Gates Child Education Foundation. They were excited to announce that their big fundraiser this year will be the volleyball game tournament between all the elementary schools with revamped rules to make sure that it's as equitable as possible with those who play. Also, the coveted bus trophy that was shared last year will be up for grabs again. And also, if you're looking for gibbets, for those of you that are big crock wearers, they have plenty of GC ones, and they'll be selling them at all the open houses that are going on shortly, where Meet the Parents Night. And they say GC on it, and they're the best ones you can buy from a foundation that's located in Gates Tri-Li. That is my report.
Thank you. All right, consensus items. Can I have a motion to approve the consensus agenda? Can I have a motion? Ms. Littlewood? Mr. Long? All in favor? The vote is unanimous. Can I have a motion to approve consensus items C through J? Can I have a motion? Ms. Littlewood, Mr. Banowski, any discussion? All in favor? Are you in favor? Okay. The vote is unanimous. Sorry, I didn't want to assume. Also, it's my fault none of your microphones were working. Sorry, guys. I pushed the wrong button.
It mutes everyone.
Sorry, y'all. Yeah. It's a learning environment. Okay, that moves us.
We are about learning.
Right?
Yeah.
Retirements?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I can't
No,
read
you're
lips.
fine. We do have 2 retirements that the board just approved, these retirees, so we want to acknowledge them. The first being Miss Lisa Jacobs, who has served the district as a bus driver for 28 years and was also most recently the Transportation Union President. So we wish her well in retirement. And then the second being Mr. Tom Scopa, affectionately known as Tommy Scopa, who has served as our head groundskeeper since 1999. So he's been with the district for 25 years, and he will be retiring shortly. So we thank them both and wish them well in retirement.
Thank you. All right, that moves us on to action items. Can I have a motion to approve policy 7220, the graduation requirements? Can I have a motion? Dr. Richards, Ms. Davis, any discussion? All in favor? Vote is unanimous. Can I have a motion to approve the SECRA resolution, Gage Chi-Li CSD Administration Building Emergency Plumbing Repair Project? Can I have a motion? Mr. Long, Ms. Kais, any discussion? All in favor? Vote is unanimous. That moves us to superintendent's comments.
Well, I'd like to formally welcome our student ex officio, Gates Tri-Li High School student Lucas Gable. Welcome, Lucas. We look forward to your report next time. So our administration team visited each of the schools multiple times last week in our opening week. It was great to see all the smiling faces and feel the renewed energy of a new year starting. Our administration, faculty, and staff did an outstanding job getting us going towards making the 2024-25 school year the best one in GC yet. As many of you talked about earlier, fall sports are up and running, and registration numbers for our fall athletics are extremely strong this year. Last year, we were at about 458 for modified JV and varsity sports. Currently, we're at 549 student athletes registered and expect a few more at the modified level. For some context, in the pre-pandemic fall of 2020, we had 524 before it dropped sharply over the next couple of years. I really like this trend. It's good to see our kids involved, and we think a big part of this increase has been the introduction of Parent Square to communicate these opportunities. I believe someone snuck that line in on me. Speaking of Parent Square, as of today, we're approximately 64% of parents and guardians have activated their Parent Square accounts. Remember, with Parent Square, every parent and guardian in the district has their own account. That means they're all set to receive important updates from our district and their student schools. But by activating their account, they can engage in two-way communication with their student school, including attendance notes. And beginning next week, there'll be several more opportunities to learn about Parent Square and to engage with your teachers and staff during our many open house events. Our high school will hold a senior parent guardian meeting and open house on Tuesday. 6th grade families are invited to meet the staff on Wednesday, September 18th. Then grades 7 and 8 will have the opportunity on October 2nd. And finally, elementary families will attend open houses on September 25th and 26th. Please note those evenings are also split by grade level. And now, our safety drills. Like lots of other processes that we engage in, district safety drills are back in full swing. Last week, we notified parents and guardians that emergency drills, which are mandated by the New York State Education Department, would begin this week. It'll be nice to practice some of these emergency procedures while the sun is shining, so that we don't get rained on while we practice them. And for all our staff, we are once again hosting a flu shot clinic. Our staff are invited to get their flu vaccinations on Thursday, October 3rd from 3 to 6 p.m. at the administration building. Those interested in getting the flu shot should call 1-800-869-2496 for an appointment. I've already got mine set up. And last but not least, a congratulations to each of our graduates this evening, and even those that were not able to make it tonight. That includes Aaliyah Campbell, Jay-Sean Clark, Alena Coons, English Davis, Sophia Lenhart, and Jolie Perez, Nashawn Reynolds, and Amajanic Williams. We're very proud of each of them for sticking to it and becoming August grads. As Principal Hamill said, they worked very closely with them and their families. It was great to see their families turn out tonight to support them, just like the high school staff, counselors, teachers, and administration did to help them get to this milestone in their lives. So again, congratulations to the remainder of our class of 2024. And that is my report, President Coffey.
Thank you. Can I now have a motion to adjourn our meeting? Ms. Kies? Mr. Long, any discussion? All in favor? The vote is unanimous. Have a good night.